Okay, so as you're almost falling over, you are like hands on this console. Again, think of it like there's a bunch of tape reels in front of you, a bunch of different like film reels running in front of like an edit station, and then above it there is a huge like square with round corners, almost trapezoidal because it's looming over you at an angle coming up towards the center of the room, like white overhead style film projector thing, and on it, this is that previous collateral damage I told you about. You see something strange, which is, I mean, in the room right now, I said there are 5 screens, right? One of the screens already has on it the Obel footage from weeks ago, right? That's being gone over one more time before being put into space. There are live feeds from a couple of places, or recent feeds maybe. You're not 100% sure. It is... actually, I know for a fact the one that you're looking at is a live feed, and that's why it's like the one special technician one. The leader gets to work on the live thing. But around you, there's other stuff from different parts of Partisan. There's footage from the war between Kesh and Apostolos up in like the taiga. There's stuff from Vigil City where. Or not Vigil City, Peak City, the head of Stel Nadeo stuff here. There's other military action being looked at. There's like, all sorts of just regular everyday shit all around you. And then in front of you, in the live feed, there is the hexagonal, what do you call that? What do I call it? The portcullis system, the kind of space gate that the Divine Principality uses to connect each of its different sectors together. They only open up once a week, and it happens to be in this particular moment that it opens up. And the way it opens up is that it's just this big stone hexagon in space again, and it fills with like a red-white sea. It's like the ocean fills it, a liquid fills it. Almost like a dark version of like a Stargate, right? And then it like splashes, and normally ships come out of it. This time it splashes in, or at least in your eyes, it splashes in. It's as if you have been pulled through this gate. And what you see is a fleet bigger than anything you've ever seen before. You know that these are Principality ships, Divine Principality ships. I think the equivalent of seeing this is like seeing tanks in the street, or seeing, like, the people on this podcast, I think, have never lived in wartime such that we've seen, like, a naval fleet in the bay of a harbor that's, like, ready to go to war. But that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's hundreds of ships. Maybe it's thousands of individual units when you count Hallows and Hollows that are in space. And they are not at the gate that you first saw, the one that kind of pulled you in. They're somewhere else. They're at a gate you've never seen before. And I think something catches you for a moment, because you recognize that the night sky is different than the one on Partisan. Or not the night sky, but the sky is different than the one on Partisan. The planets in the sector that this is not Partisan. And at first you're like, well, this could be anywhere. Then you notice, and you start to, like, there's something in the back of your head that's like rumbling a little bit, because you recognize that one of the ships, or one type of the ships in this big fleet, is the reconnaissance type that laid waste to the Nobel homeworld, which is a small ship compared to many of these, right? This is like one of these things where, like, you thought that the thing that did this to you was a big deal, but actually it's nothing compared to the size of this amazing, huge Principality fleet. And then there's a beat. And then an arc of white light cuts the ships to pieces. Instantly. You feel them die. From across time and space. You feel the lives of thousands of soldiers, tens of thousands maybe, blinked out of existence as they garner God's attention. Have you spoken to the true divine or to God before directly? Have you felt God's presence?
I think I think they've probably felt God's presence, but I don't think they're important enough to have spoken with God directly.
The mission that you've been sent on to try to like get an ally for the Nobel, did that come then from like secular government or even from a religious organization, but like did not directly come from God?
Yeah, it wasn't like a divine mandate.
Okay.
Well, it didn't originate that way. I think it is probably it didn't originate to Valence that way. It wasn't like Valence was praying and then was like, I've got to do this thing.
Right.
But I don't think there is a secular government of the Nobel.
Okay. But it was your trip was not like an individual trip though. The people you were sent to do this, or did you just okay, yeah. Okay. So in this moment, in this like all-consuming white of your mind that fluctuates, it's as if it's both nothingness. It's as if it's like the white room of the Matrix, right? But what if brightness could have texture, could be fluctuating, not in color or intensity, but like a curtain in your mind, and it speaks to you and says, messengers and servants, this profane state has transgressed yet again. They traded an honorable oath, for an avaricious pact, and they have earned my attention. Friend, assemble my exemplar, so that the reach of my attention may pierce this wicked principality. Wolf, herd your flock, and give them your mark, so that my gaze may travel past the just. I am the true divine. I am the God they dream they worship. I am autonomy itself. Every aspect of being in one, unified in strength, and singular in purpose. To guide those who will towards virtue and equality. And you're like left hanging in this curtain of God for a moment. What do you do?